Within the span of just 1 month, an unanticipated increase in the number of wild boars began to wreak havoc on more than 3 hectares of agricultural land. After the damage soon escalated into the hundreds of dollars, the local hunting team decided to arrange an emergency response in order to deal with the situation. In order to take control of the issue, they utilized an automatic feeder, which is a tried and true method that is utilized to entice wild boars by disseminating food at predetermined intervals. The aroma emanating from the feeder was successful in luring a large number of wild boars out of the marsh, as was anticipated. A group of observers who were stationed nearby waited in silence while carefully selecting targets. A shot was fired at the precise moment when it was necessary, which resulted in the immediate death of one of the animals. During the process of moving to a new observation point, 2 wild boars of a smaller size suddenly emerged on the trail. Rapidly responding, the team was able to eliminate both of the animals. As a result of the species' exceptional pace of growth and rapid reproduction, experts frequently stress the importance of managing wild boars of all sizes, including the smallest ones. In many instances, the boar's strong concentration on feeding causes them to be unaware of their surroundings, which leaves them susceptible to becoming injured. At each and every encounter, motions that were coordinated and precise posture made it possible to achieve clean and humane results. The marsh was the location of a target that was discovered by a member of the squad during another sweep. Following a stealthy pursuit of the animal and the selection of an advantageous location, the hunter took aim. Within a short distance, the boar was brought down by a single shot that hit in the right spot. After having a productive day out in the field, the team packed their gear and eventually made their way back home as night fell. Following the conclusion of the last hunt, they returned to the marsh, where they discovered a fresh herd of wild boars. In order to avoid being discovered, the crew moved gently in order to close the distance. This resulted in the swift capture of 3 animals, which was accomplished by firing repeated bullets when the range was properly adjusted. In a short amount of time, the sounds of the hounds indicated the position of another wild boar. An individual hunter approached the animal with caution and fired at close range, so ensuring a swift and merciful outcome. In a different location, another hunter realized the same level of success by eliminating a boar that had entered the area that was designated as the trap zone. It was with a rising sense of self-assurance that the group decided to embark on a more difficult adventure, this time deep within a vast and perilous swamp in the state of Louisiana, in the United States of America. In spite of the region's reputation for having challenging topography and muddy conditions, it offers a one-of-a-kind habitat for wild boar control operations. Airboats were used to provide support for the squad, and experienced hunters, such as the well-known Swamp King, Turner, who had earned a reputation for his decades of experience, contributed crucial expertise to the group. An exhaustive preparation was carried out, which included the use of bait, specialized knives, and reinforced trapping nets. Following their arrival to a clearing, the group constructed a trap that was only partially fenced by using wooden poles and metal frames. For the purpose of attracting the animals, food was placed inside. After the device was activated, a net would fall, ensuring that the wild boars contained within it were protected from harm. The group kept a safe distance from the animals once they had placed the trap in order to prevent them from becoming frightened. While this was going on, another successful takedown was recorded with a shot that was placed with great accuracy. As they made their way back to the trap, they saw that an entire herd of wild boars had been captured. There was a brief period of struggle, but the animals were unable to escape. More than a dozen were properly stored and carried by boat without any incidents. As the team's energy picked up again, they continued working toward their goal. The careful examination of the area showed further evidence of wild boar activity, such as disturbed mud and overgrown vegetation. A shadowy person materialized, and a further shot that was more accurate led to a speedy outcome. After that, a number of additional wild boars were discovered and their management was carried out in the same manner. As wild boars became more active, the difficulties became increasingly difficult to manage. Because of the dense undergrowth and the swampy environment, the hunters had to go carefully and systematically with their movements. On one occasion, a wild boar was discovered foraging without being aware of the presence of humans in the area. The hunter reached the point where he was within effective range, took careful aim, and then fired, ensuring a swift and merciful conclusion to the situation. As twilight drew near, the wild boars became more active in their behavior. Despite the fact that they were exhausted, the crew continued to work hard in order to achieve their goal. Soon after, another silhouette appeared, and the subsequent shot was also successful. With each victory, morale was strengthened, and the significance of perseverance was again emphasized. In a final encounter that was very spectacular, a wild boar that was exceptionally enormous approached the region. Following the team's signal, their trained dogs instantly responded to the situation. A concerted effort on the part of the hounds was successful in preventing the wild boar from escaping, despite its best efforts. The animal was successfully restrained despite the fact that it struggled. Every aspect of the expedition brought to light the significance of careful planning, practical experience, and responsible wildlife management. By working together and utilizing their skills, the hunters were able to safeguard the agricultural land in the area while also ensuring that every action they took was disciplined, considerate, and essential. In the aftermath of the swamp expedition, what no one anticipated was the sheer scale of the wild boar presence and the shocking discovery that followed. As the team reviewed footage from thermal drones, they noticed unusual heat signatures deep within a dense thicket, well beyond the usual feeding zones. Curious and cautious, they planned to return at dawn to investigate. The next morning, a small scouting group quietly made their way through knee-deep mud, guided only by GPS markers and drone footage. As the fog lifted, they stumbled upon a rare sight, a massive wallow site, freshly churned and still steaming. Dozens of hoofprints led outward in every direction. This suggested not only a large group, but also the potential presence of a dominant male, something the team had yet to encounter. Suddenly, a rustle erupted from the reeds. What emerged left even seasoned hunters speechless. A colossal wild boar, easily surpassing 150 kilograms, with dense bristles, scarred flanks, and tusks the size of machete blades. For a moment, no one moved. This was not just a routine encounter, it was a potential game changer. Acting quickly, the team fell into position. The lead hunter steadied his breath and aimed carefully. With one thunderous shot, the giant staggered and fell. Upon closer inspection, the boar was confirmed to be one of the largest recorded in the region, likely a dominant breeder responsible for the explosion in population. News of the takedown spread quickly, drawing interest from biologists and wildlife officials eager to study the specimen for age, genetics, and potential disease vectors. But the surprises didn't stop there. During extraction, the team discovered a makeshift burrow hidden under fallen logs. Inside were several newborn piglets, suggesting that wild boars were not just passing through the swamp, they were nesting and establishing long-term habitation. This development changed everything. It confirmed that the swamp, with its isolation and abundant food sources, had become a permanent haven for wild boar communities. As experts arrived to assist, they began collecting data on soil disturbance, plant loss, and water contamination. Farmers in nearby areas were warned that additional sightings and damage were likely, prompting calls for expanded monitoring and preventive infrastructure. Meanwhile, local authorities and conservationists debated the implications. While some advocated for continued population control, others raised questions about ecological balance and the ethical complexities of large-scale culling. Still, most agreed. The damage inflicted by these invasive animals, both to farmland and native habitats, left few alternatives. Amid the chaos, the farmer who had initially raised the alarm stood at the edge of his ravaged field, visibly stunned. "I've seen wild boars all my life," he said, "but nothing like this. It's like they're evolving, faster, bolder, more coordinated. Without help, we'd lose everything." Back at camp, the team reviewed thermal footage from that evening. Dozens more heat signatures danced across the screen. New groups of wild boars were already on the move, reclaiming ground. It was clear, the mission was far from over. What had started as a routine hunting trip had become a full-scale wildlife management operation. The team vowed to return with even better preparation, new traps, night vision scopes, and reinforced barriers. The swamp had revealed its secrets, but the battle against this invasive force was just beginning. In the end, the expedition wasn't just about protecting crops. It was about adapting to an evolving threat, safeguarding the environment, and respecting the delicate line between human settlement and the wild forces that surround it. As dusk fell once more, the swamp was quiet, but everyone knew that beneath the stillness, chaos was only a heartbeat away.